Okay. ELC. Oh. ELC 128. Worksheet 16. What does it mean to cascade? Now, we've cascaded timers in the past, and so if you know what that means, put it in there. And can counters be cascaded like timers? I think we've talked about that even in class. The big thing going forward on this one, and I will have some worksheets where I'm just asking details, is program the following and comment. Okay, so I want a free running clock. And what I mean by free running is, I gotta make it where I can edit it. Basically, stop start's optional. You can have logic in a PLC program that just happens. It starts as soon as you put the processor in run mode. It won't stop until you put it in stop mode. It just runs. Okay, so that's what I mean by a free running clock. If you do want to put in the stop start, I'm fine with that. That is completely up to you. It should have a 1 second timer with a 0.1 or less time base, and then counters to count minutes, and then counters to count seconds, minutes, and hours. Okay, you can time your seconds if you want, and it counts your minutes and hours, and you want to set it up as a 24-hour clock. In the past, I've done it where I've timed 1 second, and then I've counted seconds, minutes, and hours. If you want to do that, go ahead. Basically, I'm looking for a clock that goes from 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 all the way around to 23, 59, 59, and then back, and it runs all the time. So that's what we're looking for. There's a couple ways to do it. PLCs usually, newer PLCs usually have a clock function that you can tap into. Don't do that. I want you to actually program it, because this is an intro to PLC class, and I want you to, this gives you some programming practice, and it's something that you already know how it works, so you know if you've got it right or not. So that's a good example. Minutes and hours should be user settable by making a switch. So tap into one of your push buttons to increment your minutes or increment your hours, or a different push button increment your hours. You do have some push button options. I sent out the mapping for the PLC, so you can make a switch instead of waiting for the timer to go naturally or the counter to go naturally. You can also have a push button increment, and that way that's pretty easy to do. So it should be settable, so whenever you start it, hopefully it's going to start at all zeros, and then you can set it for whatever time it is, and you can watch it run a little bit and make sure it's working well. Okay, so that's fairly straightforward. And then once the clock is working as asked for, then add the necessary logic to have an output come out every day at 3 p.m. for 15 seconds. Okay, program an output to come on at 9:05 p.m. and go off at 10:15 p.m. Now, in order to do that, you're going to use your comparison instructions. And so you're going to use comparison instructions, two numbers, looking at the accumulated value. Or looking at the timer or counter value. And you can do logic around that. So your comparison instructions are your greater than, your less than, equal to, oops, that was plus, equal, and there's variations, and they're in the click program. So you want your program, your output to come on at 3 p.m. So that's 1500 hours, 0000, and you want it to go off at 3 p.m. 15 seconds. That one's pretty easy because you really only got to look at one time. Now the second programmed output is 9:05 to 10:15. So you've got to look at your hours and your minutes and your seconds in order to make that one work. So that's a little bit more complicated. Again, it's just comparison instructions. Keep trying it. You can make it work. I know you can. Okay. Can PLCs generate random numbers? So it can be programmed to turn on the light randomly at randomly different times for randomly different lengths of time. Now this came about from my standpoint from doing like home automation, and if you were away you would want to have a light come on. Now you can put it on a timer and it can come on for 2 hours every night while you're gone, but if somebody's watching your house every night, then they'll figure out, hey, that light's on a timer and you're not really at home. So my thinking was, if you could come up with a random way to generate how long the light was on, that would make it a little less obvious you weren't at home when you went on vacation. Not giving it away. If we jump down to 15 and put 14 and 15 together, how can you find out a PLC's capabilities? So if you go to the manual to see what a PLC is capable of, and then look to see if it will do random numbers, you probably can get the answers to 14, 15. In terms of submitting it, you can submitting the program 3 through 13 really is going to be one program, and it can be submitted as one program. It's going to be a .ckp file, and email it to me. You should be able to upload it to Blackboard too. I think Blackboard will upload it and I can download it. If you email it to me, that's even better, probably a .ckp file. So what we're going to do is first initial, last initial, last initial. So I want your first and last initial in Worksheet 16, WS16, 3 .ckp file. That's what I'll be looking for in terms of a submission. First initial, last initial, Worksheet 16 .ckp file, and send it to me. Now I say in here, comment. So as you get something working, make sure you comment it. And I had the thought the other day that you could, and I'll probably do this in the future, you could start writing the programs I asked for in classes, and then as I ask for a different program, you just create a new subroutine for that different program. So you could put the clock program in your stoplight program. That would help you out in the long run, because it would give you a massive program to sort of manage, and that will help you with those skills also. Anyway, as far as submission, first, last name, if I get 2 files that are identical, probably only going to count one. So be careful who you share with, share your programs with. because this is not hard, folks. This is not hard. And it's actually fun, the things you can do with it. Anyway, that's Worksheet 16. Thanks for watching.